For 3 years, not a single word. 3 years later, he finally remembered his ex-girlfriend, drove to the countryside, and wore a look of charity. Pack your things. I'm here to take you back. I stood before the shabby yard gate, back to the light, holding a swaddled baby firmly in my arms. The infant, just 1 month old, cooed softly. Leo finally noticed the baby in my arms, his brows tightening sharply. Piper's song. Whose child is this? I met his gaze. Mine. He looked like he heard a joke. Full of disbelief, a sneer tugging at his lips. Yours. What trick are you playing now? Grab some random bastard and try to pin it on me. My face darkened at the word bastard. Leo, he is not a bastard. He is my child. His expression turned icy. He strode forward and reached to yank the swab open. I stepped aside, and his hand grabbed empty air. Leo pulled his hand back, anger brewing in his eyes. Piper's song, you'd better explain yourself. I lifted my chin, staring at his face twisted with rage, and spoke with bitter mockery. Explain what? That I have a child? Or that you ignored me for 3 whole years? Leo flinched as if stepped on. Ignored you. You were the one who misbehaved. Celeste and your aunt and uncle sent you here to calm down for your own good. And now you blame me. Misbehaving. For your own good. Calm down. Such familiar words. 3 years ago, Celeste's song cried and said I pushed her down the stairs, almost killing her. Even though she later clarified she'd fallen by accident, the seed of doubt had already been planted. At first, Leo believed me. He argued with Celeste's song for me. But afterward, his eyes grew complicated when he looked at her. He started saying I'd become sharp, unreasonable. Later still, he stood with my parents, saying I needed to cool off. Ignoring my tears and pleas, he forced me into this remote mountain village. And left me there. For 3 years. No calls. No letters. No contact at all. As if I never existed in their lives. I held the baby close and spoke softly. I don't blame you. I don't blame anyone. Because none of you deserve another ounce of my emotion. Leo stared at the baby in my arms, fury in his eyes. You say he's yours. Where's the proof? You're a compulsive liar, Piper's song. How do I know this isn't just a scheme to force me to take you back? I was too tired to explain. Believe it or not. He's my child. That's enough. Leo suddenly grabbed my wrist, his eyes blazing. Tell me. Is he some villager's bastard? Couldn't you keep your legs closed after only 3 years here? I gasped in pain. The baby, sensing the tension, burst into loud tears. You're hurting me, Leo. I tried to pull free, but it was useless. He sneered. Hurting. Did you ever think I'd hurt when you cheated on me? Cheated. I almost laughed out loud. Leo, we broke up a long time ago. The second you dumped me here and forgot about me, we were finished. Leo snapped at the word finished. I didn't say we were done. Who gave you permission to end it? He flung my wrist away and pointed at the crying baby. Get rid of this unknown brat. I can pretend nothing happened and take you home. Get rid of him? My heart felt smashed by a block of ice cold, sharp, agonizing. Say that again. Blinding rage wrapped around me. Give him away. Or send him to an orphanage. Leo's voice held a trace of hidden irritation. Piper, we can start over. How would it look with him around? Start over. Looking at his self-righteous face, I suddenly remembered the despair I'd felt when I first arrived here. 4 months, I cried almost every day. I called my parents, called Leo again and again, but all the numbers were dead. I was like trash abandoned by the world, left to rot in this place where I knew no one. I almost didn't make it. Then someone appeared and pulled me out of the mud. He told me, "Piper Song, you have to learn to love yourself first. Only then can others love you." He stayed with me through my darkest days, taught me how to survive. I held the baby tight, the fruit of our love. I took a deep breath. We can never start over. But I will go back with you. There was something I had to get back, what Grandma left me. Grandma was the only one in the family who ever truly loved me. Before she died, she left me jewelry and a jade pendant, all taken by my mother for safekeeping. They were the only proof I had of a family's warmth. San Lioli acted fast. The next day, someone showed up, saying they needed to take a swab sample from the baby. The man was rough. The baby cried in discomfort. Lioli stood to the side, frowning, but said nothing to stop him. "Are you satisfied now?" I gently hushed the baby and asked without looking up. "We'll wait for the results." His voice held an impatience he probably didn't even notice. "Piper Song, if this child isn't yours, you better think hard about how to explain this farce." I lifted my head and looked at him. "What if he is mine?" Lioli seemed stunned by the question. He was silent for a few seconds, then spoke stiffly. "It's impossible." He refused to believe it. Refused to consider the alternative. He seemed certain that proving the child was mine would only confirm my betrayal. The sample was taken. We had to wait several days for the results. The atmosphere those days was suffocating. Lioli didn't leave the countryside yard he clearly despised. He stayed in the empty room next door, as if watching me. Sometimes he stared at my back as I held the baby and hummed. Other times he grew irritable, smoking cigarette after cigarette in the yard. Once, the baby cried in the middle of the night. I got up to make milk. Walking out of the room, I saw him standing. In the dim hall, his shadow stretched long by moonlight. "Does he cry like this often?" He spoke suddenly, his voice hoarse. All babies do." I answered calmly, skillfully warming the bottle with hot water. He was quiet for a moment, then said, "These 3 years. You raised him alone?" "No," I replied, then carried the warmed bottle back to my room and closed the door. I could feel his gaze lingering outside. Lioli picked up the DNA report himself on the day it came out. When he returned, his face was ashen, gripping the paper tightly. He stepped in front of me, shoving the report in my face, his voice squeezed through his teeth. "Piper Song, explain this. How can this child be yours? Who is his father?" The report clearly stated, Piper Song is confirmed as the biological mother. I took the report, glanced at it carefully, then set it down gently, as if it were just a meaningless piece of paper. "I told you already. He's my child." "Your child? Then where is the father? Who is he?" He grabbed my shoulders violently. "Some thug from the village. Did he trick you?" I watched his crumbling composure calmly. "He didn't trick me." I looked at him and said earnestly, "We were together because we wanted to be." "Wanted to be?" Lioli stared in disbelief, let go of me, and staggered back a step. "So for 3 years, you just stayed here and had a child with another man? Piper Song, do you even have a heart? We only broke up 3 years ago." "Broke up?" I finally couldn't help but laugh. "Lioli, the second you dumped me here and ignored me, we were finished. You ended it with your own hands. Did you even once think to call me? Write me a letter? You didn't. In your mind, I was just a burden you couldn't wait to get rid of." He was speechless, just staring at me, his chest heaving. "No. That's not it." He mumbled, as if trying to convince himself, "You lied. You changed. You became a stranger to me. That's why I..." And Celeste's song again. At the name, my heart no longer stirred. "Enough. What's the point of talking about this now? 5. Leo Lee sat frozen in the yard all night. Early the next morning, he came to me covered in dew, his eyes obsessed. His voice was dry. Piper, let's forget the past. Send this child away to a nice orphanage. We'll go back and get married. Pretend none of this ever happened. I could barely believe my ears. Send him away. To an orphanage. Leo Lee, this is my child. Flesh of my flesh. You want me to send him to an orphanage? What do you expect me to do? Watch you parade around with another man's child in front of me. His sanity snapped again, and he roared, I can't. Piper, I only love you. We can go back to how we were. Just send him away. Go back to how we were. Go back to tiptoeing to please him, to please my parents, and still never measuring up to Celeste's song. We can't go back. I looked at him and spoke clearly, and I will never abandon my child. So you're just going to throw away all our years together? He asked, his eyes red. You abandoned me first. I answered softly, but my tone carried the weight of 1,000 pounds. He stared at me, pain and confusion in his eyes, as if I were the one in the wrong. Piper's song, how did you become like this? In the end, that was all he could say. I am no longer obedient. No longer centered on him. No longer swallowing my pride to win their approval. Yes, I've changed. 3 years of loneliness, the salvation of that man, and this warm little life they brought me back to life. I learned to love myself. Leo. In the end, Leo Lee compromised. Maybe he realized I would never go with him unless I took the baby. Or maybe, deep down, he still held a foolish hope, that once I returned to the familiar world, away from this place that poisoned me, I would wake up and come back to him. He tried to make up for it in his own way. He bought piles of expensive baby supplies and clothes, filling the simple room. I told him to return everything. He watched me change the baby's diapers and feed him skillfully, his expression complicated. He was quiet for a long time, then finally spoke. When we get back, let's not tell anyone the child is yours. My hands paused. I looked at him. He avoided my eyes, his voice stiff. Say you adopted an orphan from the countryside. It's better for everyone avoids gossip that hurts you. He spoke so nobly, but I knew the truth. He was afraid of losing face. Afraid people would learn Leo Lee had taken back a woman with a child. I smiled indifferently. Suit yourself. I didn't care what they thought of me. I was only going back to take back what was mine. On the day we left, Aunt Juan next door quietly slipped me a bag of her homemade dried sweet potatoes. Piper, if things don't feel right over there, come back. Orion's people are still watching over you. Orion. At the name, my heart settled for a moment. I nodded. Thank you, Aunt Juan. I know. Leo Lee watched us whisper, his brows slightly furrowed, but he didn't ask. He would never understand the warmth and support these country people had given me over 3 years. I held the baby and climbed into Leo Lee's luxury car so out of place in this village. The car started, slowly driving away from the place I'd called home for 3 years. I felt a little sad, but I knew it was time. 3 years had passed. It was time to take back what belonged to me. Leo Lee's car entered the city. The tall buildings outside the window felt familiar yet strange. 3 years. The city had grown even more prosperous. The car finally stopped at the gate of my family's villa. Leo Lee got out first, straightened his suit, and slipped back into that noble, calm look as if the broken, desperate man in the countryside had just been my illusion. He glanced at me holding the baby, his brow twitching faintly. Remember what I said? The child is adopted. I didn't answer. I got out with the baby. Pushing open the heavy carved iron gate, the living room came into view. My parents and Celeste Song sat on the sofa, drinking tea happily. When they saw me, their smiles froze instantly. Mother reacted first. She put down her cup and hurried over, her voice exaggerated with joy. Piper, it's really you. You're finally home. Her eyes fell on the swirl in my arms. She stopped, her smile stiffening. WH. Whose child is this? Father stepped over too, his face darkening. Celeste's song followed, her gaze drifting between me and Leoli, then resting on the baby. Surprise flashed in her eyes, quickly replaced by concern. Sister, you're back? Who is this? Leoli stepped forward, standing in front of me, his tone calm. Uncle, Auntie, this is an orphan Piper adopted in the countryside. She felt sorry for him and brought him along. Adopted? Mother's voice rose in disbelief. Piper's song. Are you crazy? You adopted a child of unknown origin? Father snapped sharply. Nonsense. Send this child away immediately. The Song family cannot keep someone like this. Watching their panicked, disgusted faces, my heart turned to ice. This was my family. 3 years apart, not one word of care. Only blame and contempt. I held my baby tighter, my only warmth. Give me back what Grandma left me. I stated my purpose directly. Mother froze, then flushed with anger. You come back just thinking about Grandma's things? We raised you for all these years, and you care more about some dead objects. Celeste's song gently took Mother's arm and spoke softly. Mom, don't be angry. Sister just got back. She probably misses Grandma a lot. She looked at me, pity in her eyes. Sister, Mom has kept all Grandma's things safely. They won't go missing. Just settle in first. Since you brought the baby, we can talk slowly. We'll find a way. She was always like this, so understanding, so kind, effortlessly pushing my relationship with my parents deeper into the cold. Leoli glanced at me and said to my parents, Uncle, Auntie, Piper just got back. Let her rest first. We can talk about the child later. He sounded like he was helping me. But that charitable, condescending attitude made me sick. I was shown to my old room. It was still clean, but cold and lifeless. I sat on the bed, gently rocking the baby to sleep. Low voices came from outside the door, Mother and Leoli, arguing quietly. Leo, how could you let her bring that child back? What will people think? Auntie, calm down. He's just adopted. Piper has a soft heart. Soft heart. She's trying to shame our family. Get rid of that child, now. I'll talk her into it. Their voices faded away. I looked down at the baby's sleeping face. My heart was completely calm. Get rid of him? They would never understand. This child was my life. My purpose here was clear: take back Grandma's things, then leave. As for everything else, I didn't care. Bah. Dinner was suffocating. At the long dining table, my parents sat at the head. Leoli and I sat on one side. Celeste's song on the other. The baby slept upstairs in the room. Father ate in silence. Mother stared at me with critical eyes. Celeste's song gently fed my parents, chattering cheerfully, trying to lighten the mood, only making me look more out of place. Sister, try the shrimp. They're fresh. Celeste's song placed one in my bowl, an innocent smile on her face. You used to love shrimp. Remember? When we were little, you cried because you wanted the last one. Mother frowned at me. I stared at the shrimp and didn't move. I never loved shrimp. Celeste did. So shrimp were always on the table. And if I ate too many, Mother would glare at me to stop. Leoli glanced at me and broke the tense atmosphere. Piper, eat something. You're too thin. He placed some greens in my bowl. Celeste's smile dimmed slightly, then brightened again. Brother Leo still cares so much about sister. I really missed the old days. The three of us used to play together all the time. Brother Leo always protected you. I was even jealous. She rested her chin in her hand, looking nostalgic and a little sad. Time flies. Everything feels different, yet the same. Mother put down her chopsticks and sighed. If only Piper were as sensible as you, Celeste. We wouldn't have to worry so much. She looked at me, resentment in her voice. Disappeared for 3 years without a word, and comes back with a child. Are you trying to kill your father and me? They were the ones who sent me away. Now they blame me for leaving without a word. I put down my chopsticks and looked up at them. I'm full. I stood up to leave. Stop. Father finally spoke, his voice stern. Sit down. You're giving attitude during a family meal? Who are you doing this for? Leolie touched my arm under the table, whispering. Piper, don't make Uncle angry. I looked at them, these familiar, strange faces. 3 years ago, they all pushed me away together. Now they acted like the victims. I have nothing to say. I turned and walked straight upstairs. Behind me, Mother's furious voice exploded. Look at her. What has she become? You spoiled her. And Celeste's son's soft, comforting tone. Mom, don't get upset. Sister is just in a bad mood. I closed the door, blocking out everything downstairs. I walked to the baby's crib. He slept soundly. Only when I looked at him did I feel peace. I knew getting Grandma's things back wouldn't be easy. But I had to. They were the only proof I had ever been truly loved. 9 at night, the baby fussed a little. I carried him around the room, gently soothing him. There was a soft knock on the door. Leolie stood outside, in pajamas, looking tired. I heard the baby crying. Came to check. His eyes fell on the child, complicated again. Need help? No, I continued patting the baby gently. He stayed at the door, not leaving. After a short silence, he spoke, his voice clear in the quiet night. Piper, let's talk. We have nothing to talk about. 5 minutes. Please. He insisted. I carried the baby to the window and turned my back to him. Go ahead. I know you blame me. He walked up behind me. But I didn't forget you these 3 years. I just needed time to calm down. I stared at the dark night sky outside. It sounded ridiculous. Calm down by blocking all my contacts. Calm down by ignoring me for 3 years. He paused. It was Uncle and Aunt's idea. They said you needed to cut off all contact to think clearly. And you? Didn't you have a single thought of your own? I turned to face him. You believed whatever Celeste's song said. She claimed I pushed her, and you doubted me. She said I needed to calm down, so you dumped me in the countryside and forgot about me. Guilt flashed across Leolie's face. I didn't believe her. She clarified later she fell by accident. But before she clarified, your heart had already tilted toward her. I spoke calmly. The way you looked at her. The way you argued with me for her. Don't lie to yourself, Leolie. It wasn't like that. He refuted urgently. I admit I was confused back then. But the person I love is you. It's always been you. The baby stirred, startled by his raised voice. I looked down and soothed him gently. Love. I lifted my eyes, empty of emotion. Your love is sending me away when I needed you most. Your first thought when I came back with a child is to make him disappear. Leolie had no answer. He stared at me in pain. What was I supposed to do? Piper, tell me. Seeing you with another man's child tears me apart. That's your problem. My voice was ice cold. If you can't accept it, leave. No one is forcing you to stay. He grabbed my wrist roughly. Piper song, don't you dare push me away again. I brought you back, and I'm not letting go. He sounded half crazy. I can try to accept this child. Treat him like my own. Let's start over. Please. Try to accept. Treat him like his own. I looked at him, only bitter irony in my heart. He had no idea what this child and his father meant to me. He would never understand. Some wounds, once made, can never be fixed. I wrenched my hand free. Leo Lee, stop saying these ridiculous things. We were finished 3 years ago. 10 the next morning, I went downstairs. My parents and Celeste Song were already eating breakfast. Mother's face was still cold when she saw me. Father spoke sternly, "We're going to the hospital today for a full checkup on the child. The Song family doesn't keep anyone with unclear origins." I knew they didn't believe the adoption story. They wanted to use medicine to expose the baby's background. He's perfectly healthy. No checkup needed. I refused calmly. You don't get a choice. Mother slammed down her chopsticks. Piper Song, stop being stubborn. What if he has a genetic disease? Or his real parents come looking? It'll be a disaster. Celeste Song chimed in softly. Sister, Mom and Dad are only looking out for you and the family. A checkup will put everyone at ease. I stared at them. This family always hurt me under the pretense of caring. My child. My decision. My tone was unyielding. Father slammed the table. How dare you disobey? Look at you, no respect, no sense. Leo Lee walked in from outside, clearly having heard the fight. He stepped beside me and said to my parents, "Uncle, Auntie, the checkup can wait. He's still too young." Mother glared at him. "Leo, how can you encourage her nonsense?" Leo Lee explained patiently. "Auntie, I'm not encouraging her. I just don't think we should pressure her." His defense only made my parents think I was getting away with bad behavior. Breakfast ended in anger. I knew keeping the baby in the Song house would only make him a target. I had to get Grandma's things quickly and leave with him. I found Mother and directly asked for Grandma's belongings. She was arranging flowers and didn't even look up. "What's the rush? They aren't going anywhere. They were left to me. I want them now." My tone left no room for argument. Mother finally lifted her head and looked at me coldly. "Piper Song, you think you're all grown up, coming back and defying me. You want Grandma's things? Fine, first get rid of that child. The Song family won't bear this shame." My heart turned completely cold. As I expected, they would not give them to me easily. Grandma's jewelry and jade pendant were not priceless, but still valuable. Mother clearly had no intention of letting them go. "I am getting Grandma's things. They are mine." I looked at her. "Yours?" She scoffed. "In this house, is anything truly yours? You're even raised by us." Those words stabbed deep into my heart. Yes. In this family, I was always the extra one. Celeste Song was the real treasure. I turned and left, no longer arguing with her. If I couldn't get them openly, I would have to find another way. I knew Mother kept valuables in the safe in her bedroom. And I might be able to guess the password. 11. Back in my room, I watched the baby cooing in his crib and planned my next move. Confrontation wouldn't work. I had to be clever. Mother's safe password was probably Father's birthday. Or Celeste Song's. That night, I waited until the house was quiet and my parents' light was off. Then I slipped out of my room. The villa was silent. I walked quietly to their bedroom door and turned the knob. It wasn't locked. I slipped inside and found the safe in the corner of the walk-in closet, lit only by faint moonlight. I knelt down and tried Father's birthday. Wrong password. I tried Celeste Song's birthday. A soft beep. The green light turned on. My heart skipped. Then a sharp, bitter ache. Of course. To Mother, Celeste Song was the most important. Even the safe password was her birthday. I pushed down the pane and gently opened the safe. Inside were jewelry, property deeds, and several silk boxes. I quickly found Grandma's red sandalwood box. I opened it. Inside lay several old-style gold ornaments and the pure white jade pendant. Grandma's face appeared in my mind, holding my hand and pressing the box into my palms. Duo, keep this safe. It's your dowry from Grandma. My eyes stung. I closed the box quickly and held it tight. I was about to leave when the closet light blazed on. Mother stood in the doorway, face ashen, eyes icy. Beside her was Celeste Song in pajamas, looking worried. Piper Song. How dare you steal? Mother's voice was shrill with rage. Celeste Song covered her mouth and gasped. Sister. How could you do something like this? I stared at them. It was a trap, clear as day. Celeste Song must have known I knew the password. They'd been waiting for me to fall for it. This isn't stealing. I'm taking back what's mine. I held the box calmly. Yours. Everything in this house is mine. Without my say, you don't take a single needle. Mother stepped forward and tried to snatch the box. I dodged. Mom, do you not remember what Grandma said on her deathbed? She explicitly left these to me. She was senile. Mother shrieked. You ungrateful wretch. We raised you for nothing. Better. We'd raised a dog. Her cruel words cut like knives. Celeste Song stepped in and held Mother back. Mom, don't get upset. You'll make yourself sick. Sister is just confused. She looked at me, pain in her eyes. Sister, give the things back to Mom and apologize. We'll pretend this never happened. Watching their act of motherly love, I felt only bitter irony. I'm not giving them back. My voice was firm. Fine. Fine. Mother pointed at the door. Get out. Get out of this house. Take that bastard of yours and get out. I stared at the woman who was my blood mother. I had never understood why, when I was her real daughter, did they not love me. I'll leave. I held the box, stood straight, and walked past them. But remember this, you kicked me out. From today on, I have nothing to do with the Song family. Sha. I held the baby, carried a small bag, and stood on the cold street late at night. Grandma's wooden box pressed against my chest, painful but giving me strength. I finally had what belonged to me. And I had finally cut ties with that so-called family. No attachment. Only relief. I took out my phone and dialed a number I knew by heart. It rang once before someone picked up. A deep, familiar voice spoke, duo. Orion Chi. Hearing his voice, the strength I'd been holding onto cracked. My nose stung. Orion. Where are you? He heard something wrong immediately. I just left the Song house. At the Zhongshan Road intersection. Stay there. I'm coming. Less than 10 minutes later, a black sedan pulled quietly up in front of me. The door opened. A tall figure stepped out quickly. Moonlight outlined his strong profile. Orion Chi walked straight to me. His eyes first checked my face, making sure I was unhurt, then softened when they fell on the baby. He reached out and carefully took the baby from me, his movements skilled and gentle. The baby stirred and went back to sleep. It's okay now. He looked at me, his voice low and steady, calming. Let's go home. Settled in the warm car, I watched Orion Chi's focused profile as he drove. My heart was full of mixed feelings. 3 years ago, when I had just been sent to that remote village, I almost broke down. All my contacts were cut off. I was like an island abandoned by the whole world. Then Orion Chi came, like a ray of light, breaking into my dark, hopeless world. He had been exhausted from family infighting and was resting in that quiet village. We met under the old locust tree at the village entrance. I was crying while staring into the distance, and he handed me a clean handkerchief. Later, He taught me to grow vegetables, showed me self-defense moves, and stayed with me through every painful night. He told me, "Piper Song, you must first learn to love yourself. Only then can others love you. And if others don't love you, you must love yourself even more." Little by little, he pulled me out of the abyss of self-doubt and despair. We fell in love and had a baby. He had a special status, the head of the Chi family. The internal family conflict hadn't fully ended yet, so he couldn't put me in danger. He could only keep me and our child safe in the village, with guards arranged in secret. He promised, once everything stabilized, he would come take us home. I only agreed to go back with Leo Lee to retrieve Grandma's belongings and finally cut off the past. I never expected to be kicked out of the Song house so quickly. Even less did I expect Orion Chi to arrive so fast. It felt like he had been waiting for me all along. 13. The car glided smoothly through the night. Orion Chi freed one hand and gently covered mine, his warmth seeping through my skin. I watched the lights blur past the window. The villa of the Song family was long gone, yet my heart felt strangely light, as if I'd thrown off a chain I'd carried for years. "You got Grandma's things back?" I nodded, hugging the sandalwood box tighter. "Everything's here." His fingertips tapped my hand twice, a silent comfort. "You did well." That night, we returned to Orion Chi's place. He already prepared a nursery and everything we could need. The baby slept peacefully in the new environment. Lying on that unfamiliar bed, for the first time in 3 years, my heart felt truly at peace. At first, the Song family didn't take my leaving seriously. Mother called the next afternoon, her tone as arrogant and impatient as ever. "Piper Song, come back once you've had your tantrum. Get rid of that child, and we can pretend nothing happened." I hung up calmly and blocked the number. Leo Lee called right after, his voice suppressed with anger. "Piper, stop being unreasonable. Uncle and Aunt are worried. Tell me where you are, I'll come get you." "No need." I looked out the window. Orion Chi was holding the baby and walking in the garden, the morning sun gilding them softly. "We have nothing left to say." He clearly didn't expect such a firm refusal. After a stunned pause, his voice softened. "Don't say things you don't mean. Let's talk properly." I hung up again and blocked this number too. The world was finally quiet. Orion Chi never asked too many questions. He only gave me steady support when I needed it. He arranged a lawyer to secure the legal ownership of Grandma's belongings and hired a professional nanny to help care for the baby. He treated the baby wonderfully. The love in him was genuine. Even the nanny whispered to me, "Mr. Chi holds the baby better than most mothers." Days passed peacefully until, a week later, I received a text from an unknown number. It was Father. "Piper, come home. Your mother's anger has faded." I deleted the message and didn't reply. They probably thought I was still throwing a fit, like so many times before, that I would eventually give in. But they didn't understand, the moment they chose to abandon me, our family bond was used up. Leo Lee began searching for me like crazy. He used all his connections, even went back to the village and naturally found nothing. Aunt Wang, following Orion Chi's earlier instructions, simply said she knew nothing. On the 10th day after I disappeared, he finally tracked down one of Orion Chi's companies. When the receptionist announced him, Orion Chi was having lunch with me and the baby. He wiped his mouth slowly, looked up at me. "Want to see him?" I shook my head. He nodded and told his assistant, "Send him away." I heard Leo Lee waited downstairs for 6 full hours before being escorted off by security. Celeste Song somehow found out where Orion Chi lived and showed up in the rain. She had no umbrella, soaked to the bone, standing outside the carved iron gate, looking pitiful as she begged the guard. "I just want to see my sister. Please let me talk to her." I stood by the second-floor window and watched her performance coldly. Orion Chi came up behind me at some point, his arm wrapping naturally around my waist. "Shall I send her away?" I was about to nod when Celeste suddenly raised her voice and cried toward the villa. Sister, I know you hate me, but Mom and Dad are old, they can't take this. Come back, and I'll leave. I'll leave the Song family. Okay. Rain dripped from her hair and face, mixing with tears. She looked miserable and touching. Orion Chi frowned slightly and dialed the internal line, his voice cold. Remove her. Don't let her disturb Madam and the baby. As the guard stepped forward, Celeste struggled violently, screaming shrilly. Piper Song. What gives you the right to be so proud? You. Just and abandoned. Her words cut off, probably stopped by the guards. But her outburst was seen exactly by Leo Lee and my parents, who had hurried over. They'd come to pick up Celeste's Song, only to catch her at her most undignified. Mother still held an umbrella, frozen in place. Father's face was dark with anger. Leo Lee's gaze locked sharply onto the second-floor window, meeting mine directly. Disbelief flooded his eyes. He saw me. And he saw Orion Chi behind me, holding me intimately. Orion Chi put an arm around my shoulder and led me away from the window. His voice was calm. Just clowns. Ignore them. 14. I pieced together what happened later from financial news and Orion Chi's occasional mentions. Orion Chi used thunderous methods to completely reorganize the family and secure full power. Once firmly in control, he began his reckoning. First, the Song family. Orion Chi cut off their funding for several key projects and snatched partnerships they'd been certain to win. Song Group stock plummeted. Within a month, it was on the verge of collapse. Then the Lee family. Using a major mistake Leo Lee made in a joint project, Orion Chi unflinchingly withdrew investment and pursued liability. Lee Group suffered heavy losses and was badly weakened. I didn't care much about these business battles. I only knew that Orion Chi was getting justice for me in the most direct way a man could. 2 months after I retrieved Grandma's belongings, Orion Chi proposed to me. No grand fanfare, just in our garden. He knelt on one knee, holding a simple yet brilliant diamond ring. He called my nickname, his gaze solemn and gentle. Duo duo. Will you give me a family? I looked at him, then at the baby cooing in my arms, and placed my hand in his. The wedding was low-key and warm, with only a few close friends invited. I wore a white wedding dress, linked my arm through Orion Chi's, and walked down the petal-strewn path. The baby was held by the nanny, giggling behind us. Shortly after we married, the Song and Lee families finally couldn't hold on. They sent messages through every channel, begging to see Mrs. Chi. Father texted my old number, his tone humbler than ever. Piper, Dad was wrong. Can we meet? Mother even sent word through someone that she was ill and longed to see her grandson. Leo Lee tried to circle around through business partners, saying he wanted to wish me well in person. I read those messages and felt nothing. Orion Chi took my phone, deleted them one by one, and said flatly, "They don't deserve to disturb you." He blocked all the noise for me, sheltering me under his wing. In the end, the Songs and Lees never even got to see me. I heard Father waited for days at the headquarters of the Chi group, only to leave dejected. In late autumn, I pushed the stroller and walked with Orion Chi in our private garden. Fallen leaves swirled around us. The baby reached for the drifting ginkgo leaves, laughing happily. Orion Chi stopped, tucked my shawl more closely around me and the baby. He bent down and kissed my forehead, then gently touched the baby's soft cheek. Cold. I shook my head and leaned into his warm chest, watching the baby's rosy smile. In the distance, the woods were painted in autumn colors. The setting sun was perfect. Those years of exile, those lonely, unspoken wounds, they had finally bloomed under this man's protection. And all we lost was a past that never deserved us. You see, you just have to learn to love yourself. Love is never one-sided humble compromise. In the face of betrayal and neglect, learn to cut losses in time and life for yourself. Abandoned by her lover and family, the heroine rebelled in despair, kept her child, reclaimed what belonged to her, and finally met a good man. It teaches us never to abandon ourselves for unworthy people. Only by loving and standing on your own feet can you break free from the mire, meet someone who truly cherishes you, and shine in your own life.